Time now to turn to business news. Stephen Carroll joins us for that. Stephen, going to start with some new forecasts for the global economy this year. It's a bit of a mixed picture.
That's right. If we start first of all with the World Bank, which has been looking at sub-Saharan Africa, and it says that the region should see growth of up to 3.4% this year after a contraction of 2% in 2020. The bank says that economic activity in the region will remain below pre-pandemic levels by the end of this year, though, and has warned that a new wave of COVID-19 infections was dragging on growth prospects. Meanwhile, the head of the International Monetary Fund says the global economic picture is improving, but that it risks being an uneven recovery. Kristalina Georgieva says the current growth is being driven by China and the United States.
Well, next to a new report that shows how the pandemic has impacted progress towards gender equality.
The World Economic Forum's Gender Gap Report says COVID-19 has set back progress to equality by 36 years. That move backwards was driven by several factors, including fewer women elected to public office and more female workers losing their jobs in the past year. The report now says that globally, the gender gap is 68% closed. That's down from last year. It estimates that it would take nearly 136 years to close the gap entirely in terms of disparities in politics, economics, health and education. Iceland, Finland and Norway were ranked as the most equal countries in terms of gender. France is 16th on the list and the United States is 30th.
Turning next to Air France, Stephen, which is facing more financial trouble.
The airline has been losing millions of euros per day and is asking workers now to give up holiday days in an effort to stem those losses. This as talks are ongoing at a European Union level about whether the French and Dutch governments can give the company more financial aid. Catherine Viette has the story.
As the pandemic's third wave hits Europe, new travel restrictions are taking a toll on Air France. The company is losing 10 million euros a day. Now it's asking its employees to make some concessions to help the bottom line, such as adjustments to bonuses and giving back 3 vacation days. An idea that's not been well received.
Ces jours-là, on en a besoin pour récupérer, pour tout ce qui est passer du temps avec notre famille, récupérer les décalages horaires, etc.
Unions must approve any changes to working conditions for staff.
Tout dépendra de la façon dont la direction souhaite le faire. Est-ce qu'on est dans une situation conjoncturelle et que donc ces efforts seront limités dans le temps, ou est-ce qu'elle souhaite profiter, ou est-ce que la direction souhaite profiter de la crise pour modifier structurellement la politique de rémunération de l'entreprise. Si ça se pérennise, ça risque d'être un problème, oui.
Air France is also considering closing 3 French bases in Nice, Marseille, and Toulouse. That would mean 109 pilots and 329 cabin crew staff would then have to work out of Paris. In addition to cutting costs, the airline is also looking for another government bailout. France says it's nearing an agreement with the EU that would see Air France give up some slots at the 2 Paris airports in exchange for financial aid. The airline has already received a massive infusion of cash. Last year, the Air France-KLM group received over 10 billion euros in state loans and guarantees from France and the Netherlands. The 2 countries own a combined 28% stake in the company.
The delivery company Deliveroo has launched on the stock market in London. The company has seen a huge surge in business due to the pandemic, but its shares opening lower on their first day of conditional trading. This is trading by institutional investors. Early reports showing Deliveroo's shares down around 18% in London, trading around £3.20 a share. That's down from their initial opening offer price of £3.90. This is the biggest stock market launch in London in a decade, but some big investment firms had shunned the IPO over the job insecurity of Deliveroo's riders.
So how are the rest of the markets faring, Stephen?
All European markets opening today in the red. London, Paris and Frankfurt all down, although not by very much, it has to be said. So just small falls you can see on the main markets there. Asian shares broadly trading down as well today. Investors coming down off several days of gains. Also looking forward to details of the US President Biden's infrastructure plans set to be announced later.
Finally, Stephen, from you, a rebranding fail or just a badly timed joke?
So earlier this week, reports came out of Volkswagen that they were rebranding in the United States as Volkswagen with a T. Now, the announcement said that it was to reflect a shift to more electric vehicles. The news was announced via this video on their Twitter feed and a press release. It was covered around the world and comes at a time, of course, the car maker is still recovering from the bad press it received over the Dieselgate scandal. But it since emerged the whole thing was an April Fool's joke that had been released a few days early. Lots of people not seeing the funny side of this in the US. There's even a possibility Volkswagen could end up in trouble with regulators over it because their share price rose on the day this announcement came out.
I did see that ad actually, and I have to say it did get my attention. No publicity, they say, is bad publicity. Stephen Carroll, thanks a lot for that business update.